Hello, good morning, and welcome to Thoughts and Updates for this week. I am here at the Old Kirk in Kirkintilloch. Kirk being a Scottish word meaning church. It was built about 1644. It replaced the St Ninian's church that was here from the 12th century, and it was here used as a church up until the beginning of the 20th century, when it was too small, and just before the First World War. A new church was built just along the road there, although it continued to be used as a Sunday school right up until the town council took it over, um, which makes it a kind of fascinating place because it represents an early part not just of a church and religion being in the town, but also now just here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to expose this so that you can see it, but there is what I believe is the remains of like an iron ring. And what used to happen was on a Sunday, anybody who was guilty of a misdemeanour was put in an iron collar and tied to that, so that Sunday services would mean that you had people coming to see who had been the bad ones. So, as a means of demonstrating to people how bad or good they were, this was clearly the Sunday place of worship, but the Sunday place where you saw people at their worst, if you like. But who said so? Power of the church was everywhere. This also, at the other side, is the barony building, which at one point housed the town council, also a jail, and it's such a tiny looking building, of course. It's amazing to imagine that there was so much that went on. So, this morning, that particular iron ring got me thinking. In particular, as well, one of the things that during the course of this week I got to meet everybody at Ringside Report on a Zoom call late on a Friday night, but of course we're talking about people from Singapore, Australia, America. We were all there at very different times, and the talk became one of how people within both left and right treat each other, and how they deal with them, and the idea that, you know, having that ring outside a public place where you attach people to be ridiculed, pointed at, not quite tarred and feathered, but it's not a million miles away. It's perhaps emotional tar and feathering. We would see it as barbaric. We would see it as something akin to medieval times, something we wouldn't necessarily want to be part of. In fact, what's happening in Kabul at the moment and what's happening in Afghanistan is something we talk about frequently in our media, about going back to medieval times, the way in which the Taliban are likely to treat people. Yet go online, look at your Twitter feed, the way in which people talk to each other and treat each other in social media. We may no longer attach people to buildings so that the local populace can walk past and ridicule them and point at them and make fun out of who they are, or just condemn them. But we do that virtually every single day. A British media star, Caroline Fleck, took her own life a few years ago, and she left a note with 3 words in it, which was "just be kind." And for a period of time, that's exactly what the watchword was. People were kind. They spent the time talking to each other in a respectful manner because they didn't want a repeat of what happened to this widely regarded, beautiful young woman. And she was young, and it was a tragedy, and it was well documented throughout all forms of the media. But we've forgotten that again. What's happening now is that people are continuing to be that nasty, horrible, pernicious, evil persona. It's inside all of us when we get angry, inside all of us when we want to be pushing our point. But in social media, we're doing the virtual equivalent of sticking a collar around people, tethering them medieval like to a building, and inviting people to throw things at them. And that saddens me. And so a building from the 17th century, a part of this wonderful town, yet again, this is the second part. Town Hall was done 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to continue my walk along here to follow the trail to find more parts of interest, because one of the things that in theatre I've discovered more than anything is that in order to be effective, if you think global, if you do local, you can think global, and so therefore there's much of the teaching of the past that could be the lessons of the future. So until next week, when I'm further along here, taking us along this trail in a rather spectacular part of Scotland. It's bye for now.